Never really understood why popping a soda can just sounds so aggressive. It's like you're opening, like letting loose a hand grenade. It's like a shotgun and a hand grenade at the same time. Anyway, cheers to you if you're up. It is Friday. It's almost 2 in the morning. And who knows who's getting out of the bars and whatnot, so... Today I'm doing a bit of a different stream than usual. Today I'm trying to see if I can't do some type of call-in radio show type of thing. I don't know. It's something I definitely I've wanted to try for a while. But yeah, I don't know if it's something that will take off. Kiki, what's going on, girl? Hi. But yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get this going to where, whatever, I just want to talk to people. I love talking on the phone. That's something that I think I don't have in common with a lot of my friends. I can talk on the phone for hours, and yeah, so anyway, just throwing it out there. Let me see. I've never done this before. Pretty much everything that I'm doing on this stream is brand new. So there might be echoes, there might be delays in audio, and all sorts of stuff. So just really gonna kind of go with the flow and see how that works. If you guys notice anything off, let me know. I'll try to fix it live. For example, my chat thing popped up and it was all discombobulated. Kiki, my trip was great. I saw a lot of friends, had a great time. I'm gonna try not to divulge too much personal information on here because this is not just going to my Facebook, it's also going to a few other places where I'd rather my personal info not be known. But we can chat about that later. But yes, overall I had a great time. Never got a chance to go to that area before, so it was a lot of fun seeing the historical value of that place. Good to hear it. I'm glad you're doing well. We haven't chatted in forever. We'll have to chat again later, not on here, just because, as I mentioned, I don't want too much personal stuff to go out into the internet, nor do I want yours to go out there. Yeah. Hey, CJ, what's going on, man? Thank you for the confirmation. I'm getting echoes on my end, but I know that's just because of the way I set it up. I'm going to see if I disable this thing. Does that still work? Can you still hear me right now? You should be able to, but I noticed that my background does not do the thing. Oh, wait, it does. There we go. Okay, cool. It should be like a sound reactive background, so if it doesn't light up, whatever. Enrique, what's going on, brother? How you been, man? It's been a minute. No, we're so we're trying to be good right now because the Delta variant's being an asshole. We just lost another close friend of ours to COVID. So it's definitely not something that we're taking lightly because it is a very real thing on our end, at least. And we love seeing our friends. We just got back from an out-of-state trip, and it was the only reason we were actually okay with going out was because they were taking people's temperatures. Everybody was wearing masks. But if you go to a bar and stuff, it just doesn't happen, you know. But also, I haven't been drinking. I haven't had a drink in over a year. I don't like saying I've been sober for however long, though I have. But I feel like saying like I've been sober for X amount of time kind of takes away from the fact that people who do have to struggle through, you know, the 12-step program and whatnot, I didn't have to do that, and so I don't like. I feel like it's stolen valor to say I've been sober for so long, but. Oh, you're not okay. Again, I'm trying not to like put out too much personal information. So, but yeah, where we are, it's not bad, I guess. But people are still dying every day. So I don't know. You take that how you will. A friend that recently passed away, he unfortunately across multiple levels, but he and I were often confused for each other. We look alike, and he's also got my brother's name, and my own brother has had COVID before, and he doesn't want to get vaccinated. Initially, it was because he didn't trust it not being FDA approved, but then as soon as it was FDA approved, I was like, hey, here you go. And he was like, hey, if I die, I die. And I'm like, man, you've got children and a wife. It's like, you shouldn't be so flippant with your life, especially if it's something that you can easily do to protect yourself. But yeah, long story short, that's something that is close to my heart, and we try to be responsible. But it sucks, we thought we were this close. We thought we were out of it. Everybody, we did our part of staying home and wearing masks everywhere we had to go and doing all that. But you can blame who you want, but the fact remains is that the new strain is out, and it's just here to cause a bunch of bullshit. And we just got to deal with it, so that sucks. But if you're coming down here and you're going out, then I hope you have a wonderful time. I hope you're safe as much as you can be. I hope you're vaccinated. I hope that all goes well. I got a lot of friends who are still going out, and oh my god, a friend I haven't seen in forever, she just went to the comedy club tonight, and I love comedy, and I have not seen stand-up comedy in over a year and a half, and that was one of my happy places, literally and figuratively. But I told her the same thing. I was like, we're trying to avoid crowds, especially cramped indoor crowds, and when we went to our out-of-state trip, there was 1 million people around us, but we were outside. We were in a gigantic park. We were, and so it's give and take. You can't live your life in fear, but you shouldn't be stupid. That's kind of my mentality and approach to a lot of that. But yeah, it's cool of you guys to stop by. I appreciate that. You're coming down for your birthday? What? Where are you going? Well, don't tell me that. Like I said, I'm trying not to put too much TMI out there. Or PID, the personal identifying information. PII, I guess. But text me where you're coming, because you have my number, or Facebook me or whatever. Yeah, just I appreciate if we don't put out where we live. Happy pre-birthday, by the way. I'm excited for you. Are you excited for your birthday? Are you going to do anything special? Or, well, I guess you've been planning this trip. If this is the one that I think you're talking about, you've been wanting to plan this for quite some time. But I also know that you're very big on traveling for your birthday, so I'm excited for you. All right, what am I? Oh, I'm missing stuff. Hold on a second. My God. Where we go? All right, that sucks, man. Yeah, a few people I know lost family members to it in the past years. It's not as crazy here yet, but in Mexico, I keep hearing it's getting crazy again. So not sure if they will be closing things up again soon. Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm sorry. It sucks that we have to lose anybody to something like this when it should be as simple as get the shot, be safe, and socially distance. But yeah, I know it can be tough. I totally get it. It sucked for us because I love my friends. I love being around people. And I remember when we first heard that we were losing friends and family members all around, coworkers. God, we lost so many coworkers that were young, you know, and the way that it was sold to us, we all thought it was going to be like, oh, it's only the old people we got to worry about, right? But no, we were losing people that were 27 years old, 35 years old. Our friend that just recently passed is like late 30s. It doesn't care, dude. It really doesn't care. And yeah, so my condolences to your friends who lost family members. That's rough. Oh, Dawn, thank you so much. That's such a sweet message. It's so good to hear your voice. You bring me such joy and peace when you're sharing. Tell say hi for me. Yes, I will. Oh, thank you, Nightbot. I am drinking something. I'm drinking an energy drink at 2 in the morning. I gotta put something on my stream that says like, don't use my personal name, or don't use like personal nicknames and stuff, because I try to keep, again, it is on my Facebook, right? But I'm streaming to a whole bunch of stuff, trying to keep it like as private as possible, or as anonymous as possible. The same way that if people call in, they don't have to use their real name, right? And it's up to them. I'm not gonna give them like their phone number and first and last name out, but I know what it's like to be at home on the weekend and not have anybody to talk to and want to bend an ear. I'm blessed to always have a partner that's always willing to listen to me. But for those who don't have that, that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. I just want to see if I can kind of put some good juju back out in the world and be that ear to bend if anybody does need it. But if things are going well, then obviously I want to hear about that as well. Yeah, so... All right, so I appreciate that. Again, let's try not to use real names for the fourth time. Using like every name and nickname I have. But much love. Thank you. But yeah, I hear he's a great guy. Anyway. So since nobody is calling in right now, what I'm going to do is I'll probably give this stream probably 30 minutes or so. And if I don't get a phone call then who knows what'll happen. But in the meantime, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to vent for myself until somebody calls in, right? Because my stuff is not that exciting. But as my friends may know, I got laid off from my job back in May. This is a blessing in disguise in a lot of ways, because this is something that has allowed me to find a role that I really want to go after. And it's like a paradigm shift. No worries, you're fine, thank you. Yeah, so I'm trying to change my career, right? Because I've always been, I've worked in IT for a very long time on the support side. Kind of putting out fires, working in a crisis du jour environment, and it's a very reactive job. The position I want to go for now is something that's going to be a little bit more proactive, and it's called pre-sales, right? And so basically it's something that would happen during the sales cycle prior to the customer buying the product or the service or whatever that the company that I work at. And so I wouldn't be maintaining this stuff. I would just be solutioning for the customer. I'd be telling them, hey, this is how we can solve the problems that you have. Anyway, so with that being the context to where my battles are right now, been doing a lot of interviews with a lot of companies, and the spectrum is a very wide range, because that type of job can fill a seat almost anywhere, right? And what's cool about it is you can work for physical product companies that are pushing out a physical product, or services that are non-tangible but still have relevant meaning to a customer, or a mixture of both, right? And so that's what's cool about it, is that the playing field is not level. There's a whole lot of peaks and valleys in that industry. And I know I'm sounding really boring, I apologize, but I'll get to the fun parts in just a moment. But bear with me. I'm just trying to lay down the scene. And so with that, the interviews that I'm going through are, for some of these companies, the positions are like way above my head, right? These are things that I never would have imagined applying for or interviewing for, but I am fortunate enough to feel that I have a strong enough skill set to pursue these things, which is cool. Like, I'm like, hey, it's a new adventure, right? But for context, one of the interviews, the interviewer asked me, hey, can you tell us about a time where you lost your temper? And those who know me, and I like to think I know myself as well, and I might be wrong on this, but I had to think about it for a second, right? I was like, well, I'm a pretty even-keeled guy. I don't lose my temper. I don't get angry. I don't, I try not to stress about things. And so, losing my temper. And I had to think about it for a while, and I was like, I can't tell this guy, no, I never lose my temper. Everybody loses their temper. There's something there that's gonna, flip your switch. And then I was thinking, I know. Season 8, Game of Thrones. And he just started laughing, and it was just such an off-the-wall answer because I know he was looking for something like with a customer interaction or whatever, but I've never gotten mad at customers. You usually laugh about it afterwards. But yeah, Game of Thrones Season 8, something that we had all invested so much of our time and lives into and cared about, and for the directors of that show to just demolish it in the last season was such a disservice to everything. But I was able to tweak that answer and kind of say, like, yeah, it's kind of like working on a group project with a bunch of people, and then after a few years, through no fault of your own, that project just gets wiped off the face of the earth, and it was all for naught. And you just got to figure out how you're going to approach that in the future. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool because it was, I think it was a more juicy answer than he was looking for, which is hopefully good. I got a call back. I got moved on to the next interview. I'm doing well, but man, the interview process sucks for finding a new job, right? And this is something, like, I've been working at the last company I was at since 2012, and I've been gainfully employed since 2006, and never really had to worry about finding a new job. Everything was kind of like overlapping, or I had an in one way or another, so I didn't really have to go out and apply to 1,000 different places. I applied for, I think there was like 30 companies that caught my eye. I applied for them, and at this point, or almost a month after those initial applications, the interviews are still going on, and it's just ridiculous because it feels like it's such a lengthy process. I almost want to put more lines in the water now and apply to like another 20 places just so that I can have things continuing to go along, because the crappy part is that I'm not getting responses saying no. It's either like a yes and we move forward on the interview process, or they just, it's like you're a fart in the wind. You don't exist, and you don't get any kind of confirmation or declines back. And so that's what sucks, because you never know what you're looking for or what you're waiting for, I guess. But that's what I'm dealing with. But on the plus side, because I did say good vibes, I got a new guitar. I got 2 new guitars. I have a problem. I like guitars, but I'm not musically inclined. And so, yeah, I've been playing guitar for about 20 years, but it doesn't sound like it. And my partner just recently got me an electric guitar for my birthday, which was awesome. Started shredding on that, but then on a recent trip I took, I got to play with a friend's bass guitar, which I'd never once touched, and it was a whole different animal. It's a whole different beast than playing a 6-string, and it really opened my eyes to like that side of the music, because even back in the day, or as long as I've been listening to music, it's really hard for me to pick out a bass line unless there's a bass solo. Like you listen to like Schism by Tool, or a handful of other like pop songs where they have like those basic riffs that are just the bass. You can hear those, but for most songs you never hear the bass. It doesn't stand out. But when you're the one playing the bass and it's only you, man, bass has balls. It's a whole different beast. It is just so much fun, and it's funky, and it can shred. I've been doing a lot of like punk rock bass lines, and so that's been a lot of fun to deal with. But that's what's been going on with my life. What else? Yeah, studying for job interviews, playing bass, slapping the bass. Did you know that slapping the bass is a more advanced technique than simply strumming it or using a pick? I use a pick because that's, well, with a guitar I tend to use like finger picking, but sometimes I'll use a pick. But on a bass you can't finger pick, not as well as you can on a guitar. It's a whole different way of strumming. It's like I don't even want to know how to equate that to something, but yeah, that's what's going on with me. Just responding to text messages. Very talented in so many ways. You'll rock any position you hopefully find some. Don, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I love your good vibes. I'm supposed to be the one giving the good vibes out. You're over there just taking my job, doing my job over here. I appreciate you though. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is cool. I like being able to like just kind of chat, even though this is not really picking up speed like I thought it would. I don't know what I expected, because again, this is not something I've done before. But when I'm playing a game, you're just so fully focused on the game, and every now and then you'll get chat messages pop up, so you don't really get a chance to communicate with your viewers or whatnot. And I hate saying that with your viewers. It makes you sound like you're a talk show host, but I'm not. I'm just a talk host. There's no show here. And so, yeah. Anyway, so I'm liking this little setup I've got. I like my little banner up there. I made that. I got my little circle here. I'm really proud of that. And then all this, look at these pretty colors just everywhere. Beautiful. As our talks in a circle of family in the middle of the night about everything under the moon. Yeah, I do too. I miss society. One cool thing is that I discovered about myself is that I'm an ambivert, and that's like a mixture, like a hybrid freak child of an extrovert and an introvert. Because a lot of my friends say I'm an extrovert, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I have to be the center of attention or anything. Because I love sitting back and reading a book in my own time, in my own little temple of solitude or whatever. But then I discovered that there's another word out there, not just extro or introvert, but an ambivert. Obviously, like ambidextrous, you can use both hands. An ambivert is somebody who has qualities of both introverted and extroverted people. Yeah, and it was kind of cool to like finally see something that was, hit me like right there. I was like, oh, that's me. I like that. So with the pandemic, it sucked because you lose all external connection to family and friends and society. But man, it was cool. It was really cool sometimes to be able to be like, I don't have to go out to a restaurant, be surrounded by people eating all day and this and that, or bars and whatever. And then I gave up drinking. I haven't had a drink, like I said, in about a year and 2 months. But that was primarily a test to myself, because during my birthday in 2020, I had a Zoom birthday. I'm 100% introverted, but there are certain situations and people that can pull me out of my shell for short periods. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you're allowed and expected to kind of code switch, as situations arise. But I think the introvert or extrovert thing really points to what's your happy place, right? Like, where are you happiest and where do you thrive, emotionally and spiritually and all that? Like, what's your best place to be in? I absolutely love being surrounded by people in the middle of a bar, chatting, having a good time. But I also love just being right here in my own office or in my hammock or on the patio, whatever. Those are all equally fulfilling to me. What was I saying a moment ago? Oh, yeah. And so, like, when I was drinking for my birthday, on Zoom, we had like 50 people show up for my birthday, and so we were all just kind of hanging out and stuff. And I had to handle a Jack, and I downed that whole thing in my birthday. It was like over 8 hours or so. And I had a really high tolerance for whiskey because that's all I drank, just like whiskey on the rocks. And so I don't think I got sick. Randomly, I did, like a couple of days later, I got a package. Got a knock on the door, go to the door, and these 2 massive boxes there from Amazon. And I thought my partner had ordered those, and I brought them in, and I opened them up because it had my name on it. And it was like 6 packs of toilet paper, like massive packs of toilet paper. And apparently, because we were in a pandemic and I was drunk off my butt, I went on Amazon and bought an ass ton of paper, like toilet paper. So yeah, I don't. That's me going wild, whatever. Anyway, so that wasn't the main reason, but then I realized, wow, if I can drink that much on my birthday while I'm home alone, or home and not having to go to work, go to the office, I was like, this could get bad, because I was losing sense of time. Mostly because of the pandemic. Every single day is the same. You wake up in the same room, you go eat breakfast in the same room, you come work in the same room, and when you log off of work, you're still using your same little computer or something to play video games. You don't get away. So that whole year was just a wash. And I was like, man, if I spend any time at all drinking, I'm never going to stop. And then I'm going to get myself liver damage or whatever. So I decided to just test myself. I was like, can I go without drinking for like a week? And I did. And I was like, what about a month? And I did. And I never like wanted it. I never had that like real big urge, but it was easy because you're not like missing time at the bar. It's not like all your friends are going out without you. So I guess it was like the best possible time to try that out. And then I recently gave up smoking. Now, it's a misnomer, right? I gave up smoking cigarettes. I'm still smoking vapes. I got a couple of different flavors over here. I got like watermelon ice and orange limeade. But whereas I was a pack to a pack and a half of smoker a day, within 1 week, I was able to, I'd say like 9 days, I was able to not have to purchase any more cigarettes. I bought one of these things, and it lasted me about 9 days while I was smoking my cigarettes. Now they last about 4 days, and they're like $20. You get like 2,500 puffs on them, but super quick. I realized, wow, I don't smell like an ashtray anymore, and I could smoke this with my windows down or up in my car, so I wasn't getting the super hot heat from Texas, which is where I live, coming into my Jeep, because it was always hot whenever I would go anywhere. I was sweating my butt off whenever I got somewhere. Now I don't. This kind of kills the urge for a cigarette almost immediately. Like the moment I'm like, oh, I should go step outside, I can take like 1 or 2 drags off of this, and then I'm good. And that's what's cool about it. Is like with cigarettes, every smoker knows that you have to commit to the smoke. Right? Like you're gonna go step outside, you're gonna light a smoke, and you're gonna be out there for like between 7 to 15 minutes and just puffing away, because why wouldn't you? You're not gonna waste that smoke, you're not gonna put it out early and like just step it out. For me, I was a chain smoker. Like I'd go outside, I'd have a smoke, and then after 15 minutes I'm like, well, I'm already out here, I'm already relaxed, might as well have another one because I don't have to go anywhere. And it would just self-perpetuate. And so during the pandemic, I smoked a lot more than I ever smoked outside because I had the time, right? I'm always at home. But when I bought this thing, I started using it, and I realized that it killed the urge to have a cigarette. I have not craved a cigarette in almost over 8 weeks. I've been smoking for 20 years. I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. I hate talking in absolutes, but I really never considered quitting because it was a fact of life, right? It's just part of your life that you're going to be doing that routine. And it's like tradition, a daily tradition that you do more often than anything else. But when I realized that I wasn't craving it anymore. I was like, well, hell, I guess I just gave up smoking. So I'm halfway there, right? This thing's got like 5% nicotine, or I don't even know how these work, right? There's 5% or whatever, but they have like 3%, 0%. So I'm gonna try to slowly wean myself off, because I'm like, hey, if I can get this far from like a pack and a half a day to this thing, and not have all those negative side effects and like smelling like smoke, and, you know, whatever, causing forest fires. Then I guess I'm in a better place than I was before. So that's neat. I feel like I should be doing something. Since there's nobody calling in. How long have we been streaming? Where's our stream? 30 minutes. Alright, we're halfway there. If we don't get a phone call in the next 30 minutes, we'll cut it off. Way to break or at least interrupt the cycle. I appreciate you. Thank you. One thing I was scared about when I gave up smoking was I'd always heard that when you stop smoking, you start eating a lot, like a whole lot more. Like you have that oral fixation. I'm not doing that. I haven't gained much more weight. I've gained like 2 or 3 pounds, and then I'll lose it after a couple of days. 'Cause it's just like that water weight or junk food. I think this is still, what do you call it, checking off the oral fixation of a cigarette. And so I'm not having to like resort to chips and sandwiches or gum. I should go to gum. Gum would be a way better alternative than this. But thank you for the good vibes. Appreciate your support. I love hearing from friends. I love like just chatting with people. I don't know what it is about me. I love talking on the phone. Most of my friends despise talking on the phone. Most of my friends are like, no, text me, send me a text. I'm not gonna answer your phone call. And I'm just kind of like, when did we get to that point? I remember back in the day when I was a kid, you know, obviously we didn't have text. I guess that's why, right? But I love talking on the phone. We like to have your own phone in your own bedroom when you were living at home with your parents was like the best thing. You have like a mile-long phone cord going through your house. But that was back in the day when we had dial-up, right? And so people would pick up the phone when you're trying to get online and then ruin your internet connection. Man. But then we had cell phones that we had. I remember when text messages came out, we had to do the T9 text messaging. And so it took you like half an hour to respond to a simple text because you were having to tap numbers 15 times to say thank you or something. That's when our phones had the snake game. We had a really cool phone for that. And then what? It was 2004, 2006 when the iPhone came out. 2007. I think 04 was the iPad. We talk about that all the time with our kids. They have no idea how to communicate other than through their devices. I mean, have you ever tried the cans with a rope or a string? Because that's cool as hell. Like, I don't care how old you are. That's always cool to see the fact that that works. You get some soup cans and put a rope between them and have them like run across the street or across the yard and talk into it. It's archaic. I know it's old as hell, but just to see that that works, that's pretty cool. Let me see. I'm 30. I'm mid-30s, and I remember. I feel like mine was the last generation that really truly played outside. Right? We had video games, but those were back in the days where you could still pick up a branch and it was a gun or a sword or something. Now, like, kids can still play outside, but you have so much technology surrounding everything. Like Pokemon Go. Like, first off, what I would have killed to have been a kid when Pokemon Go came out. I was a kid when the original Pokemon came out, the original Red and Blue, and then the cartoon came out on whatever mornings that there were. And I remember there was a school bus. We lived on the corner street, or the corner of the street, and the show would start, say, like at 7:30. and it would last half an hour. It was 22 minutes long. You had 8 minutes of commercials, and so you would start watching a commercial, and then start watching a show, rush to get ready during the commercial, brush your teeth and get your clothes, and run back and watch the next portion of it, and then go back and do more, eat breakfast and whatever, come back, and the bus would get in front of my house at like 7:54, and I never once got to see the end of the episodes that I was watching. But by the time we got to school, other kids were getting on, and they were talking about the show. And they're like, "Oh my God, did you see how Pikachu died?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, just spoiler alerts all my whole childhood, and that scarred me. But yeah, those were fun times, man. And that's back when Pokemon was on a Game Boy, right? It was all this tiny little screen. It was like all different shades of black and green. And now you have like smartphones that you can throw Pokemon Go on and see the Pokemon in the world. And I just think that is so cool, man. Like, I love all that stuff. Augmented reality, virtual reality. I've got VR headsets galore just sitting around my room. And I'm almost a fully grown man. You know, I'm mid-30s, and I geek out about this stuff all the time. And now kids these days are just assimilating all this cool shit. You know, they're just doing amazing things. What's up, Jess? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm just reminiscing about the good old days. But yeah, man, like I'm very jealous of children nowadays, because look what they can't appreciate what's going on these days. And maybe they can. I'm discounting them by saying that they can't appreciate it, because it's one thing to be like, oh, they're kids, they don't appreciate the fact that we're going to Mars, that we sent people into space, because to them that's like, it just happened. Yeah, it's like they didn't wait their whole lives to see like people take a tourist ride into space. We were in school talking about that, like back in the 90s, not the 80s. But God, man, like the coolest things are happening these days, and technology is making everything so attainable, but so easily forgettable, because, and I guess it's ever since the MTV era. I'm just going on preaching about random crap until somebody calls in, but people got that short attention span from the MTV era, right? When you had like commercials and fast cuts of movies and stuff. Nothing was soap opera with a long cut anymore. And nowadays, kids have so much technology and information available to them that I don't imagine, looking back on every experience that has made any impact on anyone around us, is, yeah, no, please call in. It's going to be awesome. Just for the record, and I'll tell you again once you get on the phone call, try not to put any identifiable information out there. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll just await your call. But yeah, with all that information readily available, it's almost too much, right? Because they're just going to continue to get slammed with an onslaught of new info that's going to be hot topic for a couple of hours or a day or two, maybe a couple of weeks. And, you know, kids today, and by kids I mean anybody under 25 years old, right? And a lot of adults, right? Because everybody's on social media, everybody's affected by it. But I imagine that people today in the last 10 years have been a part of more movements than at any other point in history in such a small time frame. And people buy into it because it's like, it feels like a collective. It's somewhere where you can belong, and everybody wants to belong somewhere. But if you're just gonna like kind of flip that switch of your alliances, at the drop of a hat, what does that teach you? And I'm not saying that it's bad, right? Because these people are actively putting more effort into standing up for the cause, whatever that might be, than other generations have. Because maybe those things are not as polarizing, but maybe they're more polarizing. And it's a scary world, I feel, when children are growing up where their parents are not the smartest people in the room, right? They're like, when I was a kid, like, mom knew everything, even though I didn't want to listen to her. I was 25 years old, and I was like, oh my God, like, it definitely is information overload. at a very young age, because we have all that available to us. And it's great, there's so many different demographics that have a place now. They have a family, they have a community that they can connect to. Hey, all right, give me a second. I'm going to bring this call on real quick.
Call from Jess Alvarez. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, real quick, I'm just going to tell you that I'm trying to keep any kind of identifiable information off. So if you want to refer to me as Peaches, that's fine, or Caliber.
I like it.
Cool. And how would you like me to address you? Because this is not just going out to Facebook, for the record.
Right. Let's go with. Ooh, can I be Alpha Wolf? Team Alpha Wolf.
Alpha Wolf. Dunzo. We can absolutely do that. All right, girl. So what's going on? Talk to me.
I don't know, dude. I just in a vibe where like trying to think about. I'm not even really trying, but it's different experiences that seem trivial, menial when we are experiencing them, and then looking back, you can actually see like the importance of these specific like actions that you've taken or others have taken to set other things into motion. So it's ultimately like this expanding sort of butterfly effect, I guess. You can visually see it, you have evidence to watch it, I guess, and track it back to different experiences, either from you or others. I don't know. Incredible. Been thinking a lot about that lately.
I dig it. It's like the epitome of the small world effect.
Yes.
Because everything just feels that much more connected the bigger it gets. Because how are we connecting with people that are states or countries or worlds apart from us, and we all can either vibe on the same thing or see the effects of what they're doing instantaneously affecting our way of life or our thought processes. Am I following? Is that the right kind of... Is that where you're going with that?
Exactly. Okay. Exactly that. Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. The action of one individual multiplied by hundreds of individuals has turned into insanity, right? But then we also have, in a positive view of the same thing, somebody who, like, example, a friend of mine who got in at a company that I personally hold it. I used to hold it as like this goal of that's where I want to go, that's where I want to be, right? They're there and trying to get other people in there at that company, and just like spreading that positivity, getting them into these other things people didn't think was possible. I mean, it happens in both a negative and a positive light.
Yeah, definitely. That's like a positive Trojan horse. Like if they can be the trailblazer to set the path that shows that others could achieve it, it's really inspiring. But I would love for you to talk more about the negative aspect to that.
Yeah, like I think a lot of the negative part comes from various things. Like if you look at what we're dealing with now in like the pandemic situation, like people thinking that this pandemic is a joke or something that isn't very serious, right? They're taking that based on whatever little information that they have, little research that they've done, or maybe they've done heavy research into something and they feel like they're totally what's the word I'm looking for? Totally justified in their understanding of it, right? It boggles my mind that this particular situation is residing in politics and not in science, where it belongs. And people are using their position in other people's lives to play these other people into whatever puppet master situation they would like to see these people go in. I don't know. It's terrifying.
Yeah, no, I
to
feel
witness.
I feel like that's where the term like a bachelor's degree comes into play, where they're just getting all their research on Facebook or any kind of the first top 10 results from the best SEO polarized articles. Like if you do a few articles of research, you feel like you know everything about it now, and you're going to regurgitate that, and it's like the worst game of telephone in the world, because people are going to misunderstand the things that they read, or they're going to leave a lot of very valid information out of it, and they're going to pick and choose what they want to share to kind of fit their own narrative and what makes them feel like they are right in their pursuit of their actions and the truth that they want to see. Because, and whether it's positive or negative, right? Because even if somebody's telling us a really accurate, true, what's the word I'm looking for, backed up bit of info, they can still get it completely wrong. And that's what's scary, is that we accept so many posts on social media as fact, as that is the one true source of information, because we know somebody who wrote it up, right? Like if somebody that you respect shares something, it's easy to fall into the idea that, well, they're right about everything else because I value and respect them, they've got to be right about this. And it's really scary to know that the information that shapes our current world is so fragile, because there's so much, as Don was mentioning earlier in the comments, it's an information overload, and we often don't have time to drill down into researching any kind of polarizing commentary for ourselves. So you have to take a lot of it at face value, and it's just kind of like a constant waterfall of information coming at you. Who knows what's right or wrong?
Yep, exactly that. And I think conversations about it are really important. I mean, it's hard to do, particularly now with everything being, it's like if you believe one thing, you're, this extreme. If you believe another thing, you're that extreme. Like, ideas are not easily talked about anymore. Like, you can't just sit in a circle of friends and be like, oh, this is what I believe, without somebody immediately jumping on you and saying, oh, you're wrong because, like, and it turning into this big political argument. It saddens me.
Yeah, it's a minefield. It's a social minefield. You never know how much you're allowed to say before that person's going to get mad or make a silent judgment about you, where they can be biased towards something that you're talking about, and they may respect you so much that they don't want to tell you to your face. I guess they would not be respecting you enough to be able to trust you handling that information or that opinion. But you never know what kind of seeds that you're sowing socially when you are talking about a polarizing topic. And that's what's sad, because we've grown accustomed to making such extreme judgments on the things people say and share, and we very often don't have adult conversation about those things without getting hold up on our team's side, because it's so easy to just kind of choose a side on so many things now, because that's a way that, whether it's the algorithm of social media or that's just human nature, when put it to scale at such a vast amount of input like that, it's easy to want to choose a side, because we want to be right. We want to be the ones that have the moral ground. And life, if anything, should show us that moral ground is very subjective, because everybody's got different morals and ideals. That's the whole reason why we're I feel like the country's split in half, but not just because of the fact that we're a bipartisan government or republic or whatever. I think it's just because people are so ingrained in the idea that it's us versus them, and that doesn't scale when it comes to morals. That's what I think. Yeah,
I think that puts it into a great description. I always struggle with trying to describe it. But I think you did it very well just now. That's pretty awesome. It's an ongoing struggle that I think we're going to continue to see as well. I don't see an end to the split in our nation, which sort of saddens me because, I mean, we weren't always this way, right? I feel like maybe we were and I was naive. I don't know.
It's so funny you say that. Literally today, I was talking to one of my neighbors. His name is Mike. And Mike is probably in his 70s or so. He was in the Vietnam War. And he's an older white gentleman. And he and I will chat every now and then when I'm walking my dog. And he's such a great, nice guy. And we were talking about stuff for a good 2 hours. And during that conversation, we talked about everything from sci-fi to government stuff to bigotry and just everything like that. And he mentioned how it's his opinion that political correctness political PC is destroying or negatively affecting, I guess, our God-given rights, right, with air quotes, because we hold the value of freedom of speech on such a pedestal that, or that's my opinion, but he's saying that political correctness is causing us to lose that, and yet you're not allowed to say that. And I kind of felt like, oh, here we go, former military, elder Caucasian gentleman, I have a feeling of where this is going to go. But he surprised me. Like, he was like he's very liberal. And to think of where I thought that conversation's direction was going, he surprised me really well, because he was talking about how, because I mentioned, I feel like the same way that you just said, that how you said that it sucks that we are here now, but maybe it's always been that way. I said the exact same thing to him. I feel like maybe it's a cycle that only changes in color, tonation, or the language being used, right? Whether it's focused on women or African Americans or Mexicans or Muslim or religious or transgender or LGBT stuff, there's always a different battle for every generation to deal with. And I feel like, yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. And then we both kind of wax poetic on just how awesome it is that everybody is able to find a community now because of technology allowing us to find our tribe, right? Whatever that is, you can find people who are going through the same thing you are, and maybe you're the only Hispanic or Mexican person in your neighborhood, but all of a sudden you have the entire community of Hispanic or Latin American people at your fingertips, and you can share the battles you're dealing with. Literally, if it's a physical battle, like if you're getting attacked or your police are mistreating you or whatever, it's really cool that we can kind of make that connection and have each other's backs. I feel like that is a tremendous plus to the inherent negative that we're seeing, where it feels like, oh man, we're just ripping ourselves apart. But while that might be true, like, everything feels so much more volatile now because it's in your face. As soon as you look at your phone first thing in the morning, you're going to see all these negative impacting things to life as you know it. But the fact that that's even being shared now, and most of these people and demographics have groups that they can rely on to kind of have their back and kind of watch out for them and help them get the appropriate treatment or whatever. I think the advantages of everything that we're having to deal with have scaled very well to the battles that we are now seeing on a daily basis. So yeah, it's definitely more potent, it feels like, but I'm glad that at least the pros are keeping up with the cons of modern day society and culture. But,
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we definitely have made strides towards, solving some of the bigger issues, I guess. I mean, I don't see anything that has been 100% solved. I don't know that we'll ever get there for any one specific topic, right? Whether it be like equality across gender, across, I can speak language, across like genders or races or sex is. I mean, I don't know that we'll ever get to the place where everybody is happy with one another and everybody can just be. That would be incredible. I think that the fact that people are having conversations, be it that they are awkward and kind of stop and go, and nobody really knows what to say and what's approved and what's not approved, and all of that kind of stuff. It's kind of touch and go. But the fact that people are even trying at this point is a good thing. I don't think that we should stop with that. I think we should kind of push on. And anytime somebody is having an uncomfortable conversation, I would say have more of those conversations. Like, why is it uncomfortable? Make it more uncomfortable. We should all be very uncomfortable about a lot of things right now. Absolutely. You know,
as long as you kind of set the boundaries and the understanding that you want to maintain a level of respect and consideration towards each other. Like, this is not a win or lose conversation. This is not something where one of us is going to come out saying, I told you so, or see, like, now you know you're a loser, or this is why I'm a winner, right? As long as you approach that type of difficult conversation, because I agree, like, difficult conversations are very important and often, more times than not, valid, because it wouldn't be going against the grain to just go with the flow. Right, you want to address the things that are causing the issues at hand, and maintaining your maturity and your emotional stability. And conversations like that can make all the difference. That's how you change the world. That's how you present yourself as the change to the world that you live in, that you want to see. I do wish that more people were able to detach themselves from the win or lose mindset when it comes to having difficult conversations, because that is something that it's tough. You know, nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to realize that maybe they were raised incorrectly, right? Maybe they were told lies or stereotypes as truth when they were young and they grew up that way for their whole lives. Because there's a lot of people who do that. You know, there's people who are backwards thinking or just regressive in so many capacities that they will tell their children, be wary of Mexicans, they're lazy. Be wary of African Americans, they're gangbangers. Be wary but trust the white man because he's a hard worker and he did everything himself. And it's like, everything is subjective, and it's really, really hard to ever get to the truth of an issue, because even the most passionate people with hey Christian, I'm sorry, I just got a chat. I'm not sure what he's referring to.
I mean, on that note, I personally, I've been thinking a lot about my own biases lately. There was a situation that occurred with one of my children that included racism in classes, all rolled into one. And it sort of took me into a reflection mode where it was like, I know that person has these things about them. Maybe they didn't realize they were wrong. Maybe they really do believe these things at the core of them. What do I believe, right? Is there something that I hold at my core that I'm holding against any general group of individuals that really isn't fair? Or just kind of look at my own biases and try to figure out where they are, where they stand, where they stem from, that kind of thing. I went into reflection mode for a good 2 or 3 days. And what I came out from that with was, I do have biases. I have biases against Caucasian individuals, for better or worse, right? I had several experiences with individuals that looked down on me because of not just my heritage and where I came from, but the side of town I was living on, like the lifestyle that I led, like the fact that I had kids and I was working 2 jobs. Like, there were so many judgments that came from individuals that sort of built up this bias for Caucasians that wasn't fair, because in all honesty, a certain group of people doesn't speak for the world, right?
Right.
And so in experiencing all of these things myself and having realized that I do have a bias against it, I mean, essentially it comes to like higher class Caucasian individuals, maybe trust fund babies is a phrase I say often, which is terrible. How unfair is that? That your parents left you something you didn't have any choice to receive. That's pretty shitty to hold a bias against somebody again because of that, right? To try to clear that bias from me and understand that not everybody is that way. Right? Not everybody has that background. Not everybody sees in that same light and judges in the same way as those particular individuals did and do. Like, it's hard to combat those thoughts, but at the same time, it's like, it's purposeful. Like, I am not that hate-filled person that hates for no reason. That's not who I am. I won't be that person. How do I fix it? I have to address it first. So that's what we do, right? We reflect, we address, we fix. If we don't do those things, then progress can't be made. And I think it's important and uncomfortable as all fucking hell that we all sit and try to do that. Where do your biases lead? Like, it may not sit in the same realm. It might not be something as simple as race. It might be something more complicated that isn't talked about regularly. But we all have biases. We're just sort of unaware of them because they're just sort of there. Because we don't really pay mind to them. We don't sit there to reflect on what they might be.
And I don't think it's anybody's fault for having biases, because it's an inherent human instinct to make a snap judgment, right? It's based off of survival. Like, we had to learn how to react quickly to things that had caused us harm or caused harm to those that we knew. Like, it's not that the second person to see a saber cat was racist against saber cats. It's that, their buddy told him, hey, that saber cat ate my mom. This might be a completely different animal, but they're going to shy away from that. And so when we hear all the stereotypes and negative specifically of people, we grow biases without even, it's all subconscious, and it is a uphill battle for us to change that, because one, it's worthwhile. Two, it's the right way to act is to have a clear slate and give people the benefit of the doubt. But that doesn't scale, and that's what's hard about it, is that you have to make snap judgments to be able to code switch as needed for so many different environments, whether you're at work or in a social setting or walking through a dark alleyway after leaving the bar, right? And it does suck, because it's something that you feel ugly about, and trying to make yourself hold a higher moral ground by not holding those biases or stereotypes against people for the way that they look, right? Because if you're walking through a dark alleyway, is the Mexican dude on the ground sitting next to the wall, is he a danger, or is the guy in the business suit a danger? Maybe the guy in the business suit's a tall white guy, and you're like, oh, he must be safe. But what if what is the guy's name? Edward Gain, or some serial killer? You don't know that, and you can't. And so we make those snap judgments to try to hedge our bets, and to think that one could purely walk through the world and survive for very long without making those snap judgments is hopeful. I don't want to say it's dumb and naive. It is hopeful. It's the ideal way we want to live life. But again, it's not. Survival, unfortunately, is the thing that holds us back from being able to scale our positive vibes. And that's what sucks, because you have to live altruistically and not care about your own safety, uh, whether it's emotional safety, financial, or physical. You have to hedge your bets. That's how I feel. And I hate doing that. I love just putting good vibes out there and hoping for the best. But do I think I'm going to pick up a hitchhiker at 4 a.m. coming from downtown? Probably not, because I don't want somebody else wearing my face, or whatever.
Right? I mean, did nobody watch Zodiac? Like, please don't pick up hitchhikers.
Yeah. No, yeah, and so it's tough, especially in today's world when you have that overflow of information showing all the bad stuff, and it's easy to point the finger and be like, they're being racist, they're making stereotypes, they're holding biases. Well, yeah, and those are the extreme cases, but it doesn't mean that those are always bad. It's an inherent survival need. To say that survival is dumb is, I feel like that's the opposite end of the spectrum of being that bigot on the other end. You're just kind of putting free, good vibes out there forever. Someone's going to take advantage, because people can be ugly, and that's what sucks about it. I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like an echo chamber, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I feel like if you leave yourself too open, to helping others, which sounds terrible. I hear myself saying it. I'm like, shut up. But like, if you leave yourself too open to helping others, specific people will spot that. They will prey on that, and now you're prey. You're no longer able to help others,
right?
Because you've been sucked completely dry by this one carnivore, right? And it's like you do have to weigh the importance of specific things. I feel like as scary as the world has become, right? Not just with hitchhikers, but the world in general. You can't even walk into a grocery store anymore without wondering if somebody's completely lost their shit and is going to shoot up the store. Like, I don't send my kids off to school without praying that somebody isn't contemplating shooting up their school. Like, it is an absolutely ridiculously terrifying world that we live in today. But it's also one of the greatest times to be alive, right? Because we have so many things that are disposable. I keep saying disposable today. So many things at our disposal today, and either we're not utilizing them enough or we're utilizing it too much. And there's no balance. There's no sense of self-control is out the window. I mean, we just went through, I guess we're still going through a pandemic. I guess more epidemic than pandemic, but I mean, we have adjusted our lifestyles to survive what we have gone through as a culture, as a world, a planet. Oh, holy crap. That's insane. Worldwide. Anyway. Yeah.
All of them.
We did that. Yeah, we did it, guys. Right. We've gone through this. We've emerged through this ridiculous thing, and it's growing and changing and morphing, but we're making it through it day by day. And we're growing in such a way that it's like, how do we maneuver around the terrifying monsters, around the new challenges, around all of these different things that were already something that we were afraid of and we're trying to battle? How do we balance all of these things without losing our minds?
That's the trick.
It's incredible to watch others do it. I don't know how we're doing it, quite honestly. I don't think about how we personally are doing it. I like to look at the world outside of us and being like, oh, it's generally good, right? We're all clearly insane. I don't know how they're doing. They seem to be moving right along. So let's just try to keep pace with that. Right?
And I guess it boils down to the idea that we all want to make life make sense. If we want it to be easy with a proper beginning and end, and knowing that we can stay on the right side of the road as we go through life. And what sucks is that in that analogy, there are definitely drunk drivers and people driving the wrong way down the road that are just destructive, that don't care about anybody else. And as much as you want to go on a joyride and just enjoy your lane, you always have to be on the defense. You have to have defensive driving as at your core, while you're trying to stare into the sunset, while you're trying to enjoy the view and the landscape and everything that you're passing by. And there's some people that just don't care. They just want to play bumper cars. And it sucks because no matter how well you do, bad stuff could still happen. But you can't concern yourself with the things you can't control. You got to make that trip as enjoyable as possible for yourself and everybody around you, right? You use your damn turn signal. Let the world know that you mean no malicious activity with your actions. Let the world know that you're doing your best, because those who don't care, those who aren't trying, it's going to be easy to spot. And hopefully, right? Because we often overlook red flags in the behavior of others or the things that they say. And it sucks because it forfeits all control that we have if life doesn't follow the plan that we want it to. It's not a very uplifting message. That's not good vibes at all. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's I mean, realistically, like, the good vibes that we need to spread, right, are things that we do in spite of everything going on around us.
I agree.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, people are dropping like flies right now, right? Our country is split. There are wars going on. People are losing their lives on a daily basis for no good reason other than a line in the sand that nobody can see other than on a depicted map that's downloaded, that's a PDF somewhere, right?
It's just somebody's idea. Somebody agreed that this is where this territory stops, and if you cross over it, I'm going to shoot you. It's like,
exactly. Like, there are lives being lost needlessly, and the good vibes that we are able to send in spite of that, to help that, to support anybody who does need it. Like, good vibes are in very short supply, particularly right now. I feel like anybody who is in surplus of good vibes should be doing what they can to spread them, regardless of how trivial or menial they seem to be. Because it's like it takes one good morning, everyone, to change one person's morning from being, well, that was really crappy, to, you know what, maybe it will be good.
And that's one of the things that I love about you. I love that I know you personally, and I get to see your posts on social media, and you're the epitome of a shining ray of sunshine when it comes to seeing positivity on a social media feed that is filled with drama and petty stuff that doesn't really matter at the end of the day, that is only going to detract from people's goodness or good positive energy. And a lot of things out there, people and actions and posts, articles, whatever, I equate it to energy vampires, and it just sucks the life out of you. It sucks that shining ray of hope away, because it is hard to maintain a positive outlook when everything is just a mountain of negativity coming down the pipe. And so with people like you, when I see you simply sharing a post of reminding people to smile and appreciate the moment in life, it's so refreshing, and it's one of the reasons I value you so much. I was talking to another friend of mine recently, a mutual friend of ours, and your name came up, and we talked for a few minutes about how awesome you are. We love you and we adore you. We appreciate you for just being such a fantastic human being, because you are what the world needs more of. You know, it would only do the world a good service to have more people like you. And with you kind of emitting the goodness that's inside you, I feel that is sowing seeds of goodness that we could use more of in this world. And that is exactly the way to do it. It's just kind of keep fighting the good fight, you know, and it's always going to be an uphill battle. But if, like you mentioned, if you can change one person's day by letting them know, like it just takes one good day to have, you know, positive light in your heart, it makes it a more attainable goal when you get one more person on that train, because you never know how the echo of a smile is going to affect those around you. Oh, I like that. I should write that down.
Oh, I love that. That belongs on a T-shirt. Holy shit, I will buy that.
Maybe I will. I'll do that. I'll put it up on my Twitch.
Yes, I will take 3. No, I will take 5. I will take 5 of those.
I'll get to work on that right away.
Thank you.
Alpha
Yes.
Wolf, I'm going to let you go, but I want to let you know I appreciate you and taking the time to call and hang out with me and to just share perspectives. It feels good to, as much as it feels like a lot of this stuff doesn't matter, despite how hard we try, knowing that there's others out there that value just goodness, right? Whatever that is, positivity or happiness, or just keeping even a neutral outlook compared to a negative outlook. It makes all the difference in the world, and I value you so much, and I can't wait to hang out with you. I want to hang out with you, and we should definitely do dinner sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Awesome. All right, Alpha Wolf, have a great evening, have a good morning, and we'll see each other soon.
All right. Night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was awesome. I'm really glad I got to speak with my friend Alpha Wolf. She is honestly one of the best people that I know, and it was just an honor to talk to her. It always is. Like I was talking about before the phone call, I was going through job interviews and stuff, and she's one of the first people I called to kind of bounce some questions off of and stuff, and she was just wonderfully inspirational. She has achieved so much in her own life, both personally and professionally, and to see her just excel through everything that she's done really kind of hammers home the idea that you can achieve the things that you want, and life will reward you if you are deemed worthy. You know, and oftentimes that just comes down to, are you doing your best? Are you trying to make the world a better place than it was without you, and leave it better when you're gone? So thank you for calling in. I appreciate that. I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be right back. So give me just a moment. Let me see if I can do this thing with Bobber. There we go. All right, be right back. All right. So thank you for sticking around if anybody's still out there. So, just to recap, I was talking to my friend Alpha Wolf. She called in and we chatted about how crazy the world is and why it's important to stay positive through all that. So yeah, that was cool. That's the first phone call I've had on this type of stream, so I'm really excited that that worked out. I hope it sounded good. I hope everything worked out well. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Where's my little vape? I have to get off in a bit so I can take my dog for a walk. I don't know. So I noticed that as long as I have the side tone on my microphone enabled so I can hear my own voice, the background lights up. It also lights up when my music plays, which I can turn that back up. There you go. But if I disable this, does it still sound okay? I disabled my side tone. Obviously the background doesn't light up as much because I'm not talking. Well, I am talking, but I'm not hearing myself. But it goes through here and it lights up like crazy. I don't understand that. I hope that's not an issue. But anyway, that's what's going on with me. What else? Yeah, if anybody else is watching and would like to call in and chat for a minute, I think that last call was like 45 minutes, so I'm gonna probably try to put a time limit on future calls. Probably do like 10 minutes or so, because I don't know how many, if anybody wanted to call in after that person. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just go with the flow, I guess. You know? I'm digging this playlist though. This is the low-key Stream Beats playlist if anybody's interested. But yeah, just kind of there we go. My dog is down there just kicking in his sleep. He's a good boy. Did you hear my elbows pop? I'm getting old. My shoulders, my elbows, and my neck popped in that one move. Pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. Oh, you know what sucks? When your jaw pops. That started happening to me a while back. My left side of my jaw was popping. It's not doing it anymore. It did it for like 2 months straight, and then it just stopped. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But apparently it's from grinding my teeth when I'm asleep. And I actually bought a mouth guard. But the issue went away before I had to actually start using it. So, I don't know. Just falling apart. Well, I guess I'll, what are we at? We're at an hour 25. We'll wait till 1:30, and if we don't get any more chats and nobody calls in, I guess I'll go ahead and call it a night. What else can I talk about? Not much, I guess. I guess this is why people usually stream video games, because it's something to watch. I feel like this probably isn't as enthralling. It's not to say it's not fun, though. I actually really enjoyed chatting on stream. That was cool. I'll have to do this more often. I'll probably do it during the daytime, because it's 3 in the morning where I'm at. It's 3:15, so I don't blame people for being asleep. Counting this energy drink, so I'll probably be awake for another 17 hours. But what else? It's really easy to keep talking when you're playing a video game, because you can just narrate what you're doing. But when you're just kind of chilling with yourself and talking about nothing, it's a little more difficult. But not a bad trial run, if I do say so myself. I wonder if I can change out my headphones. I know I can, but I wonder if I can get... I'll have to play around with that. I'll have to figure out if I can swap out headphones and get the same without having to change all my crud in my streaming software. I've got like so many audio devices plugged in. I got like 15 audio inputs. It's a mess. Even the source. I don't know. If whoever's watching this, if you don't stream, then you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So for context, I'm referring to Streamlabs, which is the program that I use to stream, which a lot of people use to stream, right? And you have scenes, like the starting soon, and the BRB, and the in-game. Looking at my my sources here, there's a whole lot. And it's like every camera and the background and all sorts, everything that's going on. It's very intimidating when you look at it, because there's a lot to digest. But yeah. I just realized earlier, my buddy Christian wrote somebody's name, and I just realized that he was actually tagging them, because I'm streaming to Facebook as well. He commented on that stream via Facebook, tagging that person for them to take a look at this. I thought he was just adding to the conversation. I thought he was just kind of saying something, but I was mistaken. But yeah. What is going on here? Why did I... Oh, there we go. That screen was off screen. The window was off screen. Yeah. But yeah. We need that. Okay, cool. Wow, I got people actually liking and reacting to that video on my Facebook page. Cool. Did not expect that. I don't have that kind of insight from Streamlabs, so it's good to know. Oh man, so okay, on one of my job interviews that I had recently, well, actually on every single job interview I've had so far, the first thing people say, they're like, "Wow, what kind of webcam do you use?" Because apparently a lot of people who have been, you know, doing Zooms for the last year and a half haven't put any effort into the lighting or the camera or the audio that they use on a Zoom call or a Teams call or anything. And so, you know, yeah, bonus points. So anyway, that's cool. Something to be proud of, I guess. Right now I'm just kind of scrolling through Facebook. You know how people make posts on Facebook and their font of their posts is sometimes in bold or different font? I don't know how to do that. And I don't really care to. I don't think I'm ever going to do it myself. But I didn't think that was possible. I'm curious how they learned how to do that. Kind of reminds me of the MySpace days when people would use HTML to customize their entire page. Those were the good old days. I think that's what got a lot of people into working in IT and with computers in some aspect or another, is that they learned how to do that, the HTML coding on their own profiles. That was kind of impactful for a lot of us. I feel bad that the other day was Dog Day or whatever. National Dog Day. And I didn't post a picture of my dog, but it's kind of like I often post pictures of my dog, and it was really nice to kind of scroll through Facebook and see nothing but dog pics for like half an hour. Just, oh man, you know what the worst part about Facebook is? Nobody can know what the worst part about it is. But one of the worst parts is that you have ads every 4 posts. And I think it's something that people don't really recognize until you hear that. And so you start scrolling through Facebook and you realize that you've got an ad, a targeted ad, every 4 posts. But yeah, that's what's going on with me. I'm just chilling, just hoping that somebody calls in to see what's going on in the world of either good vibes or what do you call it? Needing to vent. Hey, this is neat. I'm watching this ad on Facebook where I'm not even going to describe it to you. I just fell for it. I just got done bitching about ads every 4 posts on Facebook. And then I see something, I'm like, hey, that's cool. It's LED strips that you can kind of like wire up however you want, but they're noise reactive. I'm really curious how they know. Oh, they're all lined up. Okay, I was wondering how they configured it to be consecutive? What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anywho, probably call this in a bit if nobody else chats or calls in, which is fine. I'm totally happy that I got 1 call tonight. That was great. That was literally like the highlight of my stream because I was not expecting anybody to call. So, yeah. I hope things are going well on your end. If anybody is watching, here's to you and your happiness. I hope the last 1.5 years have not been too hard on you, because I think it's been hard on everybody to some capacity. But all we can do is all we can do. How did I get a phone call? Oh, my friend Alpha Wolf called me on my phone first versus on the number that's on my stream. Actually, I wonder if that got pushed from my computer to my phone. I don't think so, because I answered it on my computer. I don't know. You know what's fun is when I'm streaming and trying to find stuff to talk about, I often feel like Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. He's like, and here I am talking to myself whenever everybody jumps out of the car to go look at the sick Triceratops. actually, I had a conversation with myself the other day talking about how weird it was that I was talking to myself. And I was like, now you're doing it again. And then like a few minutes passed in silence, and then I said something else to myself. And I was like, well, now you're doing it again and again. And that just continued for like an hour, and I honestly thought I was losing my mind. But yeah, that's what's going up with me. Going on. That's what's up with me. Going up with me. One of the conversations I had with my neighbor Mike today was about how evolution is like nature's game of Plinko. Plinko is that old game from, I think it's The Price is Right, where they would drop a little chip into a board that had pegs, and that little chip would plink around to the bottom of the Plinko board. And it's kind of cool when you think about evolution that way, because evolution, like nature, people are like, oh, Mother Nature doesn't make mistakes. It does. It does it all the time, a bajillion times a day, right? And it's interesting to me when you think about how like some animals may have been born with, 4 eyes, or, obviously spiders have a lot of eyes, but some animals, say it was shark, all right, maybe a shark was born with human-style arms. And as badass as that would be to have an actual street shark out in the ocean, maybe it just didn't work out. But maybe a shark with arms is the ideal evolution of that animal, except maybe the first one that popped out after 400 million years or whatever, maybe it instantly got eaten by a kraken, and so it didn't have a chance to reproduce. And its brother that didn't have human arms got away and got to have babies, and that's why that one exists. It's weird when you think about it that way, because it kind of hammers home the idea of how much humans are pretty much an accident. Like, God, this is fun. At least I'm talking to a camera and not to my wall, right? Because it's less weird if I'm talking to a camera. But I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in a higher being that cares about us, right? I don't want to think that there was a God that was in control of making humans and sprinkling them around the world and holding them to some cosmic, emotional, controlled threat, game, whatever. I don't like that idea. I don't want to subscribe to that. I think that we were a happy accident, and that we were the first to create fire, which allowed us to, stave off animals in the night. And then fire allowed us to get more nutrients out of our food, so our brains got bigger. We were able to have more coherent thoughts, learn how to use tools, evolve to have small communities. We took care of each other in ways that other animals didn't. And then, we just continued to take care of each other. But I think that if people were created in the vision of a god, like, one, that's pretty, like, entitled, like trillions of stars and billions of galaxies and all that, and no, God decided to create you, me, whatever. It's like, well, then why do some people have to wear glasses? Why do people go bald? Things like that. Why are some people lactose intolerant? Because that's evolution. Those are not redeemable traits. It's not like it's going to help anybody be nearsighted. But because as humans we had that compassion, for whatever reason, whatever kind of thought process brought that into play, we took care of each other. We took care of our elderly. We were able to pass more knowledge down through the family tree. And that's what allowed us to continue, like, those who have the non-desirable traits, right? Like, if you're anything that's negative, right? Anything that doesn't work out towards you being the perfect being, those people were able to be kept alive long enough to procreate, and then boom, sprinkle dozens of generations after them, and here we are. So when I think of evolution, I think of it as a Plinko game. Sometimes the perfect specimen will come out and it'll just immediately be wiped away, and it's a shame because you're like, oh man, we could have had whatever flying alligators by now. But maybe they did exist. Maybe dragons were real. But maybe their bones were made of cartilage to allow them to fly. And that cartilage wasn't strong enough to be fossilized, and therefore all dragons got nuked out of history. Imagine how many other animals there were that didn't get fossilized, that we will never know about. Think about the stuff that's at the bottom of the ocean. How wild and crazy that might be. But yeah, it kind of like brings things into perspective when you think about how everything about us is an accident, and we choose to make it more romantic than it really is because we want to matter. And like I was talking to my friend Alpha Wolf earlier, how we want to make the world make sense. We want things to kind of have a way that we can navigate it to where things make sense. Because it doesn't, right? Life, in the words of Sylvester Stallone from Over the Top, life meets nobody halfway. Because life doesn't care about you. Life itself is just existence. And when you die, you no longer exist. You got nothing to worry about. But while we're here, like, how beautiful would it be to have everybody on the same page? To be able to learn and grow and explore the cosmos together and, you know, make it count. Because it's so easy for it to just kind of disappear at the drop of a hat. And nobody knows when, you know, their time is up. And that's what's sad and scary about it, but, you know, it's a fact of life. And the sooner you accept the fact that at some point your book will be over, there will be no more chapters after that, the more you can make your story more valid. Start working towards things that matter, that bring you happiness and happiness to those around you. Because what is life if not to be happy? I guess the sad part is that some people have skewed visions on what happiness is, because it's easy to bastardize that idea and think that your happiness is the only happiness that counts. It's a shame, because for how powerful we are and how much potential there is in a single life of anybody, so often it's wasted. That potential is just thrown away to play it safe, or to, I don't know. Man, it's 3:33 in the morning. That is the ideal time to have an existential crisis. What are we at? It's 1:44, an hour and 44 minutes. I'm really digging the music. The music's kind of what's keeping me going, because it's lively enough to keep me engaged mentally, even though I'm not talking to anybody. But we'll do 2 hours. At 2 hours, if nobody else chats or calls in, then I will end the stream on a happy note, because I got a phone call tonight, so that was great. I wonder why the music that's playing right now doesn't light up the background, and only my voice does. Like I said, it only hits on the beats, like the basic parts. Let me fast forward this track. And that is such a beautiful background. I'm so happy I got that. I should put a camera on my dog. He's got those good vibes. I love when he has dreams where he's chasing a ball or something. Well, we're getting there. Hour 46. I wonder what kind of engagement I'll have if I were to do this at 3 in the afternoon. Because I gotta go out of town tomorrow. I gotta go pick up a piece of artwork from a buddy. When I get back, I'll probably do this again, because this is fun. I'm really enjoying this. I enjoyed it more when I was talking to people. But I don't blame anybody for not being up at this hour. This is like my normal time to do stuff. My circadian rhythm is all discombobulated. I am kind of bummed that my VR headset's not working, or one of them, my Valve Index. I migrated my desk to a different side of the room, and I left that kind of sitting on off to the side. But I've got my base stations up there, but they don't turn on anymore when I enable Steam VR. And I don't know why it doesn't work. So that bothers me. But I'll work on that this weekend. I also got to do some more studying. I got to study AWS, which is awesome, wild, sexy time stuff for the cloud. What is that? Is that a phone call? Did somebody else call in? I did get a missed call. What? But I was talking to my friend Alpha Wolf for quite a while. I don't know who that is. Now I feel bad. I need to... Well, I'm not going to return the call right now because it's like almost 4 in the morning. But yeah, I guess that counts as 2 calls. I should go to my Twitch channel and see what's going on there. Oh, looks like I have a viewer. Hi, viewer. You don't have to chat. I hope you're enjoying whatever you're seeing. Sorry, I don't have more to offer right now. Oh man, I gotta update my setup pic. How do I do that? Yeah, I gotta update all this stuff. Oh yeah, edit panels. There we go. Let me do that right now. Because I think I have a picture of my new setup. So I'll just email that to myself and then update that. How did I send that? Loving this music though. Oh, it's an old pic too. And I'd have to clean off my desk before I update that. But in the meantime, I can update the hardware that I have listed in here. Know what my hard drives are. What hard drives do I have? That's right. Okay. And 1 terabyte SSD. That's right. Okay. Cool. Alright, so now I've got that stuff taken care of. Nice. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. Alright, so we got, what, 5 minutes left. I like that I can draw on this little background too. Look at that. That's beautiful. I had a collections lady call for a bill that apparently I didn't pay at a doctor's office a long time ago, like 4 months ago. Her name was Yolanda, and she called initially a couple of weeks ago, and she called back to let me know, like, hey, I followed up with the thing, because I told them, I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure I paid that. She called back and she was like, hey, you didn't pay it. I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and pay for it. So we did that. And while we were waiting for all that stuff to, transpire, I asked her how she's been and what she's been up to. And she mentioned, oh gosh, what did she say? Oh, I made a joke, like when she called in, like I already knew that she was a collections agency. And I was like, hey, did I win the sweepstakes? And she laughed and she was like, well, if you did, I'd expect you to share it with me. And I was like, oh, of course. I was like, but I gotta know, what would you spend it on if you had the money? And she said that her and her husband had a dream for a long time that they want to open a hotel that caters to veterans, and especially homeless people, homeless veterans. So I ended up getting her to talk about that for like half an hour. It was really cool because whatever, it's a collections agency, right? And I'm pretty vocal about how I think people who do that should find a new job, because life's too short to be somebody that nobody wants to talk to. And you call them. But she said that her and her husband had only chatted about their dream, the idea to have a hotel as like a maybe one day type of thing. But I started telling her, I was like, you should look into getting grants from the government, because maybe that's an option. Maybe they can help you set that up, especially if it's going to be something catering to veterans. Maybe you can work with the VA to find if there are options for you there. Or also, you could look into seeing if you could get business partners, maybe former military people who've retired and are looking for a source of income or something. Maybe you could talk to job placement, headhunter type people, and say, if homeless people come to spend the night, you can do that. You can get like a night or two for free, but maybe you'd have to limit how often they could stay there, because you want as many people to be able to take advantage of it as possible, especially if they're homeless. You don't want just like the same 5 guys taking the room every single night. Maybe you give them 5 nights free every month or every quarter or whatever. But say your first 1 or 2 stays are free, no questions asked. But if you want to go there repeatedly, then you have to work with a job placement entity. People could help people create resumes, and maybe you have a barber on site that can give them haircuts, that can kind of maybe have a connection to Goodwill that has suits and ties and shirts and whatever. Give them a whole outfit that they can wear after a fresh shower and a shave and all that. They can go out and do job interviews. Fix that homeless thing if you can. Obviously, there's a whole lot of reasons that people are homeless. They don't always choose it. Maybe there's a lot of medical stuff or mental health issues, but not everybody, right? Maybe you can make a positive influence on a handful of those that come by and take advantage of your service. Anyway, guys, that's it. 2 hours, pretty much done for the night, and I really look forward to doing this again. I had a lot of fun. I don't even want to say it wasn't as active as I thought it would be. It's 1,000% more, a lot more action than I thought we would get because, as mentioned, my friend Alpha Wolf stopped by and her and I chatted for a bit, and that was exactly what I wanted for tonight, just to be able to, wax poetic about whatever issues that we have on top of our mind. So I hope you are doing well. I hope you have a wonderful night. Have a great weekend ahead of you, and I really look forward to doing this again soon. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this, and be back soon. Adios.